and you'll get better at it over time. Okay. Attitude is everything. Okay. So here we have this one. All it asks you to do is choose the letter that best completes the sentence. So the triangle that would require the sine law, there's only one. So this is an SAS, it's not it. This one is side, 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 not it. You have a pair here. This is going to be the one. Angle, angle, angle cannot be solved, period. You cannot do it, okay? So that one is an easy giveaway. 3 sides, also not. It's going to be cosine law, right? So C is the only one that applied there. Amrinder, can you turn up front here, please? Taking my time here to go over it, okay? So this is your pair. That means you have to use sine law. So you go and set that up. You need to use sine of 43. So there's no hidden pair, anything like that. It's just straightforward. You cross multiply and divide to get. So this would be the step that I would want you to have. A lot of you had, if you see a capital N, that stands for notation. So some of you are doing this, right? You set it up, and then you go M is equal to, and then it's just like a chain of equal signs, right? Don't do that, right? Start a new one here, and then give me the answer, and that's 12.40 centimeters if you round it correctly. Okay, so that one was a sine law situation. Side, angle, side. You're looking for R. I'm going to go up here. You need to use this formula, right? R squared is 4.3 squared plus 6.5 squared minus 2 times 4.3, 6.5 cosine of 61. R is square root of whatever you get there, which is 33.63, and it keeps going. R is 5.799, it keeps going, so that's 80 kilometers, right? Rounded correctly. Then you have the 3 sides. So here we had some difficulties with notation. So you gotta start with cosine of the angle you want, which is T. Line. Put the side across from the angle you want. Put that in first. That's the safest bet, right? And then take the other 2 sides. So it's 165 squared plus 88 squared. 2 times 165 times 88. Right, like that. Figure out what the top and bottom amount to. So that's 21,513. Can we turn off the headphones there? Matthew, is that yours? Music? I hear music. Okay. And then we have angle T is equal to cosine inverse of, when you divide that, it's 0.7408, and that keeps going. Angle T is 4220. And here I'm going to just mention notation again. Some of you are, what did I notice? Oh yeah, I see angle T is equal to, cosine inverse is equal to this. That is, you don't have an equal sign there. To find angle T, you take the cosine inverse of this. So that's what you have there, and then this is your final answer. Okay, all right. There, most of you would still be okay. And then you had to do questions. At first, they were completely labeled, okay? So this is what I call a hidden pair. Okay? So to find this angle, let's call this angle B. You have to go 180 minus 38 minus 48. Okay? So angle B is 94 degrees. So that is important, right? You needed that to get you started. Then you have a pair. Then it's sine of 94 over 500. And on this side, you have to be careful. It's sine of, you want this side, so you need to use the angle that's opposite to it to figure that out. So you set it up, you just show me your work, which a lot of you are doing just fine. And so it's 372.48 meters. That is the distance here. Okay. If you use 38, obviously you get a different answer. So watch out for that. Next question here. You know what I'm realizing? There wasn't a single question that involves sine law where you need to find an angle. So I need to make sure you understand how that works. So I will make sure before we go today for you to have at least one example where that is being done. Otherwise, you might get in trouble. You know when you have to use sine inverse, right? We got to make sure we practice it one more time before the test. So in this case, they want the angle of change, which is this one right here. Some of you might have been confused by this, but it's just, this was the initial trajectory and then you change, right? So they want that angle in there. We can call it A, right? So if you want cosine of A, right, you want the side across from it show up first, and then it's 400 squared plus 486 squared. 2 times 400 times 486. Write this down if you haven't, right? And then figure out, let's add another line. The top gets you negative 336,540. And the bottom number gets you 388,800. Okay. So watch the negative. Some of you, your calculators have this button, right? You need to, when you're going to divide this, you need to press that so the negative shows up on this top number. So then angle A is going to be cosine inverse of this, which you know is going to be negative, 0 point something. And that is 0.86, and that keeps going. So angle A is 149.95, which is, it should be obtuse because of the negative, right? So that is the answer there. That's all you need. By the way, total side, right? That has nothing to do with this question, but what if I asked you to find this angle here? Could you do that? Yeah. Supplementary, right? These two add up to 180, correct? So just take 180 minus this to get that. Okay, so just in case I get creative. Next page, this is I guess somewhat similar. It's a hidden pair again. So we call that, if you know the angle, the side in between, an angle ASA, right? You have angle, side, angle. You know that it's going to be a hidden pair, because if you have two angles, you can find the third one, no problem, right? So angle W is going to be 180 minus 64 minus 77. And that is 39 degrees. So we now know this 39, and now we have our pair. So sine of 39 over 5.5. This would be sine of, and you have to be careful. She wants to know, or we want to know, the distance between the parking lot and the waterfall. PW. Some of you actually wrote PW, which is great, but that means I have to use 77 as the angle here. Okay, so V, you set up your work, and V is, where's my key here? 7 point something, right? 8.52, never mind. 8.52 kilometers. That was the answer to that one there. And now the one that gave all of you a bit of a hard time, and that's okay. But this one, we actually have done at least 2 examples in the text, in the note booklet, and it involves the height. So there's the Pika example where the river is across the 2 individuals. You have to find the height basically, or the width of the river. And we also had a tree example. And so you need to know how to do a question like this. I basically guided you through it though. So first of all, the angles x and y. So x, right, if you consider this here, right, if you consider that, this is 75, just zoom in and onto the intersection there. This is 75 and this is x. We know that x is going to be 180 minus 75. It's just take away the angle next to it to get the other side. And so you get 105 there. That was the angle, this one right here. So we can actually write that in here now. I encourage you to do that as well. And then angle y, you now have 2 angles inside that triangle. So angle y is going to be 180 minus the 105 minus the 40 that's already there. And so that gives you 35 degrees. So angle y is 35. I hope that makes sense. It all started down here, right? Like knowing that they were side by side along the straight line. Okay. And now we have the length of side z. So they want this one here. And what I will do is this. Watch. I'm just going to draw this quickly. It doesn't take that long. Right? And then you have the 20 here. This is 40. This is 105. This up top here is 35. You have your pair. So sine of, this is z right here. Sine of 35 over 20 is equal to sine of 40 over side z. And then z is equal to cross multiply and divide. Z is 22.41 feet. There we go. And now they want height. So this is B here. I will do C here. I will take this triangle and quickly redraw it. So that's H. This is 2241. This is 75, right? And so I have my pair there. I can find H no problem. So sine of 90 over 2241 is equal to sine of 75 over H. Cross multiply and divide. Anybody remember what sine of 90 is? Go ahead. Sine of 90 is 1. Okay, so if you forget, no big deal, but it can save you some time. And that is 21.65 feet. Could you find the distance between the second point and the tree? You could, right? So you just have to, I'm not going to give you everything exactly the way it's ever going to show up, right? You have to, but I need you to start thinking outside the bubble, right? Outside the box. All right, next. Last question there. This one also was for some of you, that was the one that broke the camel's back. But we'll try to repair it. So we have a boat traveling south from a port for 4 hours at 40 kilometers an hour. So you're starting at the port, you go south. This distance, you got to go 4 hours times your speed, right? So that would be 160 kilometers that you traveled over 4 hours. So this side length is 160. This one here is 6 hours at 50 kilometers an hour. That is 300 kilometers. Okay? Got one mark there, one mark there, but now we need to have the angle on the inside. Again, this isn't a straight line, right? If you have this and I tell you that this is 30, then you know that this is 150, right? They add up to 180. Okay? Same idea, it's just now the line is this way. But this is still a straight line, right? So that's another mark there. Then you have a side angle side. And so to find, they want to know this, right? How far is the boat from the port after traveling 10 hours? Because you did travel 10 hours, right? It's 4 and 6. So c squared is equal to 300 squared plus 160 squared. And you know how this goes, right? C is square root of 198,738,4388. And that's 445.80 kilometers. All right. I hope this makes sense. I hope it now makes sense if it didn't make sense before. Okay. But this question is straight from the book. I just changed it a little bit, right? All right, bonus. Let's try the bonus question here. So it's being able to read the direction, which you probably never, well, if you're in physics, you might have. So you're both starting at the same spot. Mariah is going, this is your north line, but you're turning 40 degrees east of north. So you're turning 40 degrees this way, away from north, right? 4.3 kilometers. So you end up there. Then Raphael is this is your south line, and he's going 52 east of south. So he's going 52 degrees east of south. Ends up here. So this is for 4.8 kilometers. So now they want to know how far apart are they, right? This is like the question mark. Can you see that there's a straight line, the north-south? It's not straight on the paper, obviously, because I'm not really good at drawing. But how many angles are there? There are 3 angles. You know 2 of them. So if this is, like, let's say this is angle A here, this one, angle A would be 180 minus the 40 minus the 52. So whatever is along that straight line, that gives you 88 degrees. So that's the angle. So it's side angle side. I will just tell you that x is 6.33. And if your diagram was off, but you got the 6.33, you got partial marks. Yeah, for doing that. Okay, that's it for the quiz. You can put it away.